Now, before I begin talking about this, I'm going to largely be referencing Hearthstone in this video, so I will try and keep things as simple as possible, but I will be explaining things as needed, where needed. A few days ago, I was playing a game of Arena. What that is it's a mode that you enter by paying in-game currency or real cash. And you are given a choice of a random class to pick, and then after you pick that, you are given choice of random cards that you continue to pick until you build a deck. The reason behind this mode existing is, well, A, it's fun, but B, and this is probably the bigger reason, is because you can turn a profit on this mode and just keep playing it ad nauseum, get a lot of cards from it, make a lot of in-game money from it, etc. The goal is to eventually get to 12 wins, and it goes on a 3-strike system. 3 losses, you're out. And the rewards increase exponentially. Now, I was playing a match in this, and I encountered someone that began emote spamming me. Now, what this is, it's a practice where Blizzard does not allow for talking directly to anyone unless they're on your friends list. What they have allowed instead is emotes. Very simple things like wow, greetings, well played, just 6 very simple things. And what some people have done is they will continuously spam these in quick succession. You can only use one emote about every 3 or 4 seconds. It's locked out for that long. But they will keep doing that, just rapid emote after emote after emote, to try and put someone on tilt or to upset them or whatever. It was a bit funny because in this match, I even at one point said in my head, you picked the wrong guy to do that to. I don't get fazed by this kind of stuff. This was a very back and forth match. No one was winning, no one was losing. I assumed he was doing this to try and put me on tilt so that he would have a better chance of winning. Towards the end, I started really winning. I had a full board of minions, creatures, whatever you want to call them, and he was basically just down to whatever card he drew from his deck at the start of each turn. He had a spell that did a full board clear, got rid of all my minions. So we were back from scratch, but I still started winning again, and he conceded, gave up. He then added me as a friend immediately after the match. It's a pretty easy process to do that. Just click on whoever your last opponent was and add them, and you can try and add them to your friends list. I accepted this because I had an idea what he was going to do. He said, and I'm quoting this directly, "Fuck you, nigger," unadded me real quick, so I couldn't report him, couldn't say anything back, couldn't do anything. Do you know what I did? I laughed. I laughed because A, this guy was just incredibly upset over a game. But B, because it was at this point I realized this is the great toxic nature of Hearthstone that I have heard so much about over the years. To give you a bit of context here, I have been playing Hearthstone since about the time Goblins vs. Gnomes, their first expansion, came out. This was about a year and a half or 2 years ago now. In that time, and I will have a link to this in the description so you can see it for yourself and you know I'm not just bullshitting you. I have, in play mode, that's regular mode, 692 wins, and in Arena, the mode that I just told you about, 311 wins. So about 1,000 total. Probably double that number because it only counts wins, it doesn't count losses. And I'd say about a 50% win-loss rate for me is about where I'm at. I'm just going to call it 2 years' time. In 2 years' time, 2,000 matches. This is the very first time this has ever happened to me. That is so marginally small, it might as well not exist. But what about just emote spamming in general? I can hear some people saying, well, yes, I'll give you that. I've had maybe 10. Not counting this one, I'll be generous and say 10 times I've had people just emote spam me in a match. That's it. 2,000 matches, 2 years, including this one, maybe 11 incidents. Wow. That's negligible at best. At best. That's almost not noticeable at all. I'm probably the typical Hearthstone player. The typical casual Hearthstone player, I'll say. I play a few matches a day, or I play one arena run a day, and that's it. I'd say my experience is pretty typical of the casual player, which is what makes up the majority of the player base of Hearthstone. I frequent the Hearthstone subreddit a lot because I enjoy this game. I like learning about it. I like seeing the community talk about it. I like interacting with the community. I find myself to be a part of this community. And I see this once or twice a week. There will be someone that posted an image of a person that did what I just described. They added a person and then just went on to insult them because reasons. Because stupid people get upset over losing a game. Typically, the person who posts this just posts it because it's funny, and I will typically comment in that because it's funny. But I will see a lot of people in there commenting, oh, this is just a perfect example of how toxic the Hearthstone community is. Oh, this is the absolute worst community on the planet. Blizzard should do something about this and ban every single person who ever emotes, etc., yada, yada. You've got to be joking me. Are you really so thin-skinned that virtual words that happen once every 2,000 games causes you to go into some sort of PTSD-induced seizure? Oh, just because it doesn't affect you doesn't mean it doesn't affect anybody else. I'm not saying that. I'm saying this was so rare, it is almost negligible at best. It is so easy to just pretend it didn't happen. Are you so pessimistic that you have to focus on the one bad rather than the 1900 plus that didn't matter? Well, you're talking about it right now, so it must mean something. I'm talking about it right now to show that it is so insignificant that I can't believe this is talked about so frequently with Hearthstone, to the point where the devs have actually given in and tried to change some emotes, and they've even talked about ways of making it easier to ban people for this. That I can understand. This is breaking their rules. That's fine. But the people have, a lot of people have said, we need to do away with emotes entirely, and the devs have actually not just laughed at this idea, is insane. There is no talk feature. Emotes are very basic, if anything. I typically believe people are genuine when they emote. If they say greetings, I assume they're just trying to be nice and say hi. If they say well played, I'm assuming that they actually mean that. And I do too. At the end of every match, I give a well played. If people say something like wow, or the precursor to that, sorry, I assume it's because RNG was really wild, and I believe they're being sincere rather than sarcastic or trolly. This seems to be a personal interpretation thing, and me, I'm a lot more easygoing. I'm a lot more believing the sincerity of people, whereas people who are pessimistic, high-strung, very, very just upset in general, they seem to automatically assume the worst. That's on you. Not the game, not the community, you. And I've seen this with a lot of other communities too. YouTube, Twitch, Reddit, etc. Any community that is popular, has a large player base, fan base, user base, whatever. I keep being told this is the most toxic community on the planet. It's so horrible. Never go there, etc. And yet this stuff is so rare and so infrequent. I have to wonder, do you even play this game? Do you go to this community? Do you actually interact with people? It's it really is maddening that companies listen to these, oh, this is the most toxic place ever, people, and try to change things. I'm saying this as a person that has now experienced this. This was laughably pathetic that anyone would do it. It's marginal at best that it exists. There is no need to change to try and accommodate these people who are so easily offended. They look for it everywhere, and if they can't find it, they will just use general terms like the most toxic community ever. Anyway, this has been just Math Machine rambling about Hearthstone, but in larger part, just how hilarious it is to consider a toxic community to be a thing. Peace out.